I actually wanted to oh, interesting. I've got two sets of earrings. I've got the blue on the other side and I've got this. I was trying to see which earrings are gonna fit me. Yeah, so oh, I love these. I wanted this to show because we are talking about something that it's called Phaahla. It's by King Saints. Something that I have been asked not once, not twice, but more than twice. You know, where people say, Gogo, please do a video on Phaahla. Gogo, ruto phasa badimo re nyako tseba rena re phasa byang. Gogo, please teach us how to Phaahla. I'm in the UK, Gogo. I don't know. I've never learned these things, but I was born in South Africa, or was born, in the diaspora, but I feel the yearning and the need to Phaahla and call my ancestors. So there's been that thing about Gogo do this, and I've been quite hesitant, beloveds, to do this video on Ubuntu because it's also a personal experience. Because a relationship with your ancestors, it's a personal one. I can give guidance, but I can't dictate, because you might be guided to use something else outside what I'm going to demonstrate and show you today. Because remember, Idlozi is not out there. It's also one with us. So when we are actually calling upon them, we are also calling ourself, our higher self, which is one with them. When we call them from all the sacred spaces, we are calling a troop of our warriors. We are calling Ubuntu, so that it can come forward and show up, because this connection, this communication I'm doing with you requires Ubuntu to intervene. This situation, this dilemma, this predicament that I'm finding myself in requires all of you. You know what I mean? So because I don't believe I'm separated from my ancestors. But for you to be one with them, you need to start somewhere, so that even when you are on the road driving and you having anxiety, you can call upon them. Even if you're going somewhere and it feels unsafe or unsettled, you can call upon them. Even if you just came out of an interview, you don't have to wait home to celebrate with them. You can, on the way, say Marco Samakuli Ndlondlo ezinhle ishwishwa ngizomoya bomavula kuvaliwe. Ninalibona la singaboni khona ngiyabonga. So remember to also let me know where you at, because I can read messages and I can immediately translate what I'm saying. Remember to please subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to the video, please like and share afterwards, because it is very important for us to share the teachings, because this is kind of like an online library. I am giving these teachings because I am trying to empower you. I am trying to inspire you to be one with your roots, to be one with your African identity and your African spiritual identity. I'm inspiring you so you can find healing, wellness and well-being. I'm inspiring you so you can find love, peace, happiness and light. I'm inspiring you so you can be a better version of yourself. I am inspiring you so you can move from a level of lower consciousness to a higher level of consciousness embedded in Africanness and African roots. Today I'm in a good spirit, even though I had a very hectic day, beloveds. My account was attempted to be hacked again on Instagram there for a while. So if he calls, I'm going to answer on this other one and tell him I'm online. When Daddy calls, you gotta say, Daddy, I'm teaching. I'm in dosified mood. I am here to offer doses. Very soon, by end of this month, I'm hoping that my t-shirts will be out with my famous quotes. You can get them as birthday gifts. You can get them as wedding gifts. You can get them as inspiring people to walk in the lane of their ancestors, because by walking in power with them, they're actually going to learn how to own their lane. So thank you, Zoe. I see you from Tata. Amanda, I'm seeing you. Lisedi, I'm seeing you. I love you too. Your name is Prophets. Thank you. Sintlanhla Phaahla episode. Yes. And some Instagram people might have missed it. Like I said, my Instagram account almost got hacked into for the third time. They were trying. So I couldn't post because Instagram blocked me until I can do the things I needed to do. So, but I breathe it in and I take it that, sometimes when you are this impactful and you're doing important work, people are gonna want to try and leash and lynch and cringe and crawl and want to feast on that. But it was a corner. My Instagram account is active. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, it's Coco Dineo. On Facebook, it's Coco Dineo and the Institute of Spiritual Healing. I hardly use my personal account. I'm actually keeping it for some reasons, but I'm considering. And on Twitter, I'm also Cocodino. So please make sure to share and like. I know we haven't gotten to it, but we have 189 people and 34 likes. Keep the likes going, because also it keeps people coming to the channel. It keeps people educated. Pella, this is not a private consultation. It is teaching for the public. That's why the video is public. That's why you are not coming in with a link. That's why you're not coming in. Anyone can join this, because my account is public, because I am here to teach, enlighten, awaken, inspire us towards our greatness as Africans. Yes, in once upon a time in my lifetime, I was a poet. I think the poet in me still exists. That's where I crafted my acting skills. I hope you like the role Gamkulum Kanya. I love her. I look at her with awe. I'm like, wow, look at this woman who's incredible and who's in her element, really trying to educate people about what it means being umntwana wedlozi through the storyline between her and Zianda. I wonder what's gonna unfold. I'm also I'm as curious as those who are glued up. Welcome somebody from Pretoria. Yes, I'm in a whole lot of mood today, after spending hours trying to save my Instagram account. I'm like, but I'm in a mood. It is what? Because I said, Guti, the devil is a liar. We ain't gonna entertain the devil. We're gonna be here and do this. I am committed and dedicated. We have opening Spirit Wednesday at Cosmos City. Spirit Wednesday, it's a sort of type of church-like service every Wednesday between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. because now that we at level 2, where we can come, a space of worship, prayer, a place of really owning our spirituality as Africans. So it's happening every Wednesday. So meaning, Guti, next week, please check out my Instagram post. I'm gonna inform you when we are moving the YouTube teachings. We either gonna move the YouTube teachings to Tuesdays or Thursday. Maybe it will be Truth Tuesday or Truth Thursday, because this was Spirit Wednesday, but we are opening Spirit Wednesday at Cosmos City. If you're in Johannesburg, if you are in the area, send me a DM. You come. It's not, you don't pay. It's a space of prayer, worship. It's like a church. So there's no membership. You don't need to sign up for anything. We don't even have to see you again. You just come when Spirit says you come, because it's also not only I who's teaching. There are other spiritual teachers, because there we get inspired from different books, including the Bible. And we say, what does it mean for us? Because we do understand the Bible itself. It's a revised version of a story that once Africans lived, So yeah, that's it. I'm assuming you all hear me and you all get me. So let's get to Phaahla. I want to speak about Phaahla 101 and something that people have been asking me a lot about: miscarriages and abortion cleansings. And you know how I work by now. You have been listening to my teachings. I don't just say this is, then I move on. I want to go deeper, because the deeper I go, the clearer you become. The clearer you become, the more open and embracive you get when it comes to actually facilitating, performing, and owning the rituals, owning the teachings, and applying them in your life. Ask Daisy about network. Just save it, and then you can come later and watch it. Yes, you can even share now with friends and people, because this is actually a family teaching, because this is very family. Sometimes Instagram is not really family friendly, because Gogo goes and speaks about other topics. When I'm speaking about like sex and spirituality, sometimes it's not, because I will be going deeper into sex. But I can also say this is basically about the family. We all grew up understanding there are acts and practices that Africans do, and one of them was uphahla or upasabadim, but we don't know what that is like, and we confuse it, right? Sometimes we say, can you phahla and pray? Do you phahla, do you pray to your ancestors? When we try to translate and interpret our ways of doing things into English. Sometimes the depth of the meaning of our practices get lost. Things get lost in translation. But for the purposes of educating all of us, irrespective of language, I'm going to use English. Ukuphahla. What is ukuphahla? Ukuphahla is to call upon your ancestors. Who are your ancestors? Your ancestors are those who once lived in your family bloodline. They are part of your genealogy. They are part of your African ancestry, part of your ancestry that once existed in a physical form. So they were once human beings. And they left their physical form, meaning they died. But in African spirituality, we don't die. The body rests because it has worked and it has come to an end of its cycle. It has reached its purpose. It has served the soul very well. So the body then departs. Umoya uhlukana nenyama. It departs, but the spirit does not die. No, the soul dies. It transforms. And it either transforms to be one with Creator, and it looks upon and watches over us and guides us as we call upon it, as we phahla. Or it becomes what we call idlozi, meaning it is still alive very well and it still wants to come back into the physical world to perform certain functions. Hence, but umuntu ungenwe yidlozi, meaning ungenwe umoya that still has functions to complete. They have come into your body because your body can be a vehicle. But remember, when you were also spirit, you made an agreement before you manifested that I will allow for this particular spirit or this particular spirits or souls to come back and take over or use me as a vehicle, not take over, and use me as a vehicle to continue their purposes by being called to Ubungoma or by being called into African healing practice. So that's what ukuphahla is, to call upon. So we are calling upon our ancestors because it is very important for us to continuously having a relationship with our loved ones, because ancestors are what roots are to a tree. So when we are deeply rooted with them, we are strong trees with an ability and a potential to bear fruit. When we are disconnected, we can still be like trees, but our ability to grow, becomes compromised. That's why some of us will have a very successful life because we've put in the work and we've worked hard. But all of a sudden, things start to happen and things start to go wrong. And they say, but awusabanakile abantu bagini. You are not. Ngesixhosa kuthiwa awubahoyanga. Awuhoyanga izinyanya. KaSuthu bari, ha usalatela ntotsa henu, ha usaphahla badimo. Ngespedi bathi, ga usalatela dilo tša ka gae, meetlo ya ka gae ha le sa phasa bja tše badimo ba le furalletše. The gift of speaking more than one Southern African language. Are you following me, beloveds? Let me know that you're following me. The important thing is you are here, you are present, I can capture you, your spiritual ears are open, your spiritual hearts are open, your spiritual minds are open so you can be filled and fulfilled. And also understand, this is my teachings based on my understandings, based on my experiences. Ngoba, I said at the beginning of the stream that ukuphahla, it's a personal experience. I am just giving guidance. Take from the guidance what seems and fits and speaks to the soul, that ignites a fire in you, even if that fire feels uncomfortable, because discomfort, it's a call for change. Hey, Tawazani. See, spirit is agreeing with me. So, what do we phahla for? So, why do we need to call our ancestors? I spoke about we need to be deeply rooted. We call upon our ancestors. So, when we call upon them, we are communicating, we are communing, we are being in connection with them. 3 C's: communicating, communing, and connecting with them. So when we communicate, commune, and connect, there are things, or what we call connecting things that help us communicate, and connect, which I'm going to demonstrate. Like I said last week, I didn't want to speak because bengekho emakhosini ngisekhaya, so I brought a few things. I think some of them I have, because one thing I always have, it's a candle. Impepho nesnave, I always have, you know, in the house, because I don't only communicate and when I wake up in a dream in telesnave pants and I speak to them right there and then, because they are always with me. So we communicate with them because we want to say something. We communicate with them. We are wanting to say something because we are wanting to ask something. We are wanting to offer something. We are wanting to thank something. So that's why we communicate with our ancestors. We connect because we want to be one with them. We commune with them because we are creating a solid relationship with our ancestors. I said to you, I'm not going to just tell you, I'm going to go deep. And I hope in this deep that I'm going, I'm not losing you. You're not drowning. You are actually being rooted and grounded as I teach. So we do that for our ancestors because in them we seek solitude, in them we seek refuge, in them we seek guidance, in them we seek protection, in them we seek blessings. Our ancestors are the gatekeepers of us connecting to higher source. There is one divine source called Umvelingangi, Ramasedi, Mudimo, Zimo. God. So when we don't connect, it means, Guti, we are not able to reach. Sometimes you pray, but you feel like your prayers are being delayed. It's because you have went past, or you have ignored, or you have disrespected and dishonored the gatekeepers. Because Laba Bantu, remember, they know of you. They know about you. You might not be connected to them, but they know you exist. So the minute Uti, I am from, they open and they listening. And this basic Phaahla one-on-one is, it happens when there are no ancestral discourses or other things that might be happening, but meaning that they have stirred some darkness or they have actually blocked the family. This is generic Phaahla when you are trying to connect. So it's not about what if this, I am just teaching about that. That's a topic for another day. Otherwise, we're going to get lost. And I'll speak, of course, about some things that might block the communication, the connection, and the communing with ancestors. So I spoke about why we do Phaahla, right? Because it is important in us. From ancient teachings, we've always known that the highest form we all aspired was to be idlozi, to be abangaseko, to be badimu that can still come and aid their loved ones. Because when you're a spirit, you are one with God. So you are actually an enabler, and nobody wanted to actually do bad deeds because they didn't want to be idlozi, elibi, engeke libizwe. Because I'm sure that there's a lot of the dark ones, but a lot of us are drawing on the light, because light eliminates darkness. Darkness cannot overshadow light for too long. When you are in the darkness, it's because you have not switched on the light, and that light might be calling upon your ancestors. When I am going to speak about why we use the things that we use to call upon them, because we are bringing them forward. So let me speak about then the things you need, the connecting tools. Remember, I am not meaning any minimization of the things that we use, but I'm trying to find simple terms so that irrespective of where you are in the world, irrespective of a language you speak, you can leave and come out of this live stream inspired, educated, enlightened. So I did say earlier on, English sometimes can minimize, can dilute, but it also helps us collectively have an understanding of the teachings that I'm trying to teach. Hit the like button. We have 286 people, only 94 who are liking it. Please like the button, share it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because every week I am here teaching, and you are welcome to share your request about the things you'd like me to teach. Some things you are requesting are not a full topic. They are like, tell me, what do I do? You know, some things are personal, and when it's personal, it requires a personal consultation. It's really not a teaching, because it's one issue. So one issue does not call for a teaching, unless if it's one issue that falls into many other issues. So Phaahla tools. Different tribes use different things, but we have become so Africanized that even people Babasutu can use impepho, because the assumption is Basutu don't, only the Zulus or the Ngunis use impepho. Impepho grows in KZN, it grows in Cape Town, it grows I think some of it grows somewhere, because Lesotho borders Eastern Cape and KZN. How interesting is that? That indicates our Africanness, because we need to evoke the 4 elements, because remember, our ancestors are one with the sacred natural spaces. So by evoking those elements, we are evoking the potency or the energy field of our ancestors, because they are now one with God. God is in nature. So when we're bringing those elements into our space of calling our ancestors, which we call a shrine, which we call an altar, which we call umsamo, some people call it lipanzi, abanye bathi ganzelo. There are different names for it. And I know there are people who are traditionalists, who like, not everybody can construct umsamo, only this and that. I am not a traditionalist. I am not a traditionalist, because I am a free-spirited. I believe that spirit evolves, because in the olden days, there had to be a designated family area. But what happens if you don't have your mother and father, and there are no elders? So you are not going to be connected. So you're going to be stuck, because now you can't construct an official Msamo. Right now in South Africa, the whole of the continent, we struggle with accessing land. South Africa, Africans don't have land. Well, Black Africans don't have land. So how are we going to see we all cannot have izindlu zikagoko, which is a space that's created as Zuluin, or standards where you go in. So we need to be able to innovate, right? So you have to find a space where you can go there, and because remember, it's not only calling, connecting, communicating, it's also sometimes sit and listen, because the responses don't always come in dreams. You might be pathlering, and you might, after you pathla, birds come and they start to make sounds. Who has heard that before? Those is saying, we've heard you. There could be a blowing of a wind, or you might start to hear words or messages in your head, or your ears can happen. Things happen as a form of indication that spirit has heard you. Sometimes a door opens because you have called them. So they are also showing up. So that's why it's very important for you to find a space you can create. You live in a bachelor's bedroom, right? We need to face the realities. You lived in a one room. Yes, if you've got a big, beautiful piece of land, you can create, even can ask, but also ask your elders if you do still have, how do we construct it? My understanding is that the Sotho people, Bapedi, the Tswanas, the Basotho, theirs happens somewhere outside by a sacred tree. In the Nguni culture, ezizulwini kuba khona indlu kagogo or urondo, like an actual hut with the thatch roof, right? And then esiXhoseni kusemhlanti, the kraal. And I think even in some Sotho cultures, some use the kraal. So those are the sacred spaces. But where are you going to have a kraal if you are living in Johannesburg and you are living in a flat? You have to construct a kraal. The reason it's like that is because it's sacred. Because remember, where they're sitting, they need to sit there. And sometimes we do. Like I moved mine here, but I know there's one I can't just move as I please and as I like. No, because some people, to construct it, you might have to perform a ritual. You might actually have to go home where you were raised, pathla there, use candles, use chickens, sometimes goats, and announce, now I have moved and lived here. Because some of you, your things are not working out because you existed. You left home like you were just coming back and you never came back. So it doesn't know where you are. They don't know your whereabouts. There's some people come and I'm like, but they don't even know the house you're staying in. Did you announce? Ulbegile kaya. Ul announce it. Did you announce that you are there? So there's people, when I work with them, I always sometimes guide them to first start at the ocean, the forest, to call and let their ancestors know that, because in that space, natural spaces are interconnected and the potency of ancestral energy is highly present. Did you hear that? When you go into a natural space, it's another place in which you can go, but we don't always have access, right? So when you want to first attempt to do Upahla, if you feel drawn to a natural space, I revere natural spaces. I don't just go. I would want to start at my space to let them know that I am coming, because you don't know who is residing there. You don't know who is unhappy there. You don't know who, because these might not even be your ancestors. It might be spirits roaming around who are waiting for anyone. Somebody said, I am Swati and I understand everything because it's translated. Yeah. So tradition has also said women cannot phahla. That is patriarchy. That is colonial. I don't want to lie. I don't, and I don't think, what happened when the men were gone to war for months? So we don't speak to the ancestors. There were people who were allocated, either men or women, because of a function and the role they played. In Venda Makadzi, for example, because that was the one who was chosen to be our spokesperson or the speaker. But remember also, back in the days, those people as well were also gifted with gifts of healings, but things have been fragmented, so we need to find and navigate our way. I have helped people phahla and apply phahla, and it works. But if it doesn't work, then you might need to consult to see what are the spiritual blockages or what are the other things that needs to be fixed, because just by phahlaring, things are not working out. So let's get to the things that we're following. I did say that I'm not going to be general. I want to be specific, because I want you to listen to this video over and over again so you can gather. So let's recall. We phahla to connect, communicate, and commune with our ancestors. The reason we do that is because we are asking, we are needing, we are also inviting, and we are also offering. Right? And what is it that we are asking, needing, thanking, or inviting? We are needing blessings, protection, guidance, direction, clarity, understanding, and the other most important, being in relationship with them, because when we are deeply rooted and one with our ancestors, our ability to thrive is much more stronger. So what is the most important when your partner? Intention. To intend. What are you intending? Your intention is not in your cognitive, it's here. Idlozi can hear what you but when your heart is like this, that's why we were told, don't phahla when you are angry, don't phahla, because some of us, we evoke war. Some of us, we create harm and damages. Be careful of the things we harbor. Be careful of what we speak, because we might be creating and endangering others, leaving blood on our hands, which will catch up with us, because it is karma. People are asking if Lozi can hear you. I'll get to this. If Lozi would not hear, if you speak in English, I would have not been teaching the stream in English. I've had people in the States phahla who are African Americans. I've had people in the UK phahla. I've had people everywhere in the world phahla in English. And it's to say, what I always like to teach is Togozani, because that is a female grid. And it's also, Togozani is rejoicing, is calling upon with joy, with love, with light. Togozani. And and to say, I will speak in the what you say when you phahla. Let's speak about the things, because you need to know the things, right? You need to know what you need. So I was speaking about the 4 elements. We've done the steps. So the other step, I like evoking the 4 elements of nature in the sacred space, because by then I am drawing also the presence, because amadlozi there. Some of them are around us, some of them in the mountains, in the waters, in the caves, in the lakes, in the rivers. But I evoke the 4 elements because when those 4 elements come together, we are in harmony. We create harmony and synergy. So what do I have here that represents the elements? I've got it here. Imbeb, African sage. So if you are somewhere and you don't have African sage, use sage that you can find, because sage is about fire, it's about air. It's actually the air. But what I like to start with before is candles. White, it's a neutral color. When you light it, it neutralizes things. When you put it against any other color, it actually supports the color. It's a supporter. So green for manifestation, red for protection, but I'm not going to go into details about the candles. I was just having this thing. I start by lighting a candle because I am lighting a path. I am bringing sun into the room, because when I'm pattering in a room in Eskodlo and Sami. So I light a candle to bring the sun element, to bring the fire element. I ignite fire because for me, fire is a dual, it's a very strong dual element, because fire both releases the old and invites the new. It bends the things we don't want and it makes way for the new things, right? So I light candles. So you light a candle. Then the next thing I do is embeb. Air. Inviting air. Fire and air, actually, when you look personality traits and other things, they call it it's a compatible thing. So impepo is air. So if you don't have impepo, sage, because impepo is from the sage family, use this. You can get this almost anywhere, or an other alternative to impepo that can bring the air, because you need to bend it, because when you bend impepo, for those who might have not bent impepo, can I demonstrate? Do you want me to demonstrate how impepo, so you can see what I'm talking about? Because when you bend impepo, it shoots smoke. It creates fire. Do you see? But you don't want the fire. Look at the air. Look at the beauty of lempepo. I just lit a little bit. Look at the air element that comes. Because air clears. Air clears energy. Because mpepo is medicinal properties is also to clear bacteria, viruses. For those who their spaces are full of people, use mpepo to clear. It's also good with corona right now because it helps clear airborne diseases. It clears the energy. So do you see, Guti? Once it's not, you see, there's no fire, there's just air. But it started with fire. That's why I said candles and this, because fire and air work well together. You can get impepo at any multi-market Faraday if you are in Gauteng, Johannesburg, Marabastad, they sell it, or anywhere where there are street vendors. Ask them where you can get impepo. Even in Durban multi-market, you can get it. So sage, you can get it in those shops that sell crystals, that sell. I use both as well. This, because I have Indian ancestry. So, because remember, Eastern philosophy was inspired by African philosophy. Indians are descendants of Africans, but I also love using the sage. I sometimes light the sage as well, along with impepo. But sometimes we do run out of impepo. During COVID, we ran out of impepo, and at least we had some incense, even if it's not white sage. Incense, because you are evoking air. Hope you are getting me. The room is still smoky. Ooh, it smells so beautiful. It smells so beautiful. Then I use this snuff, dried tobacco. Snuff is tobacco. So if you do not have snuff, you can use fresh tobacco. You can buy that anywhere in the world. You can get tobacco. Boxer is also, we know Boxer. What's the other brand? But any tobacco, and I know a lot of people do get tobacco. My people overseas, are you being helped with alternatives? Because also it's important for you. So these are the things I like to call them forward to connect with them. Then we also offer things, and that's where we bring the water element, because remember, water is about flow. And sure we're connecting so we can be in flow either of blessings, protection, guidance, leadership, because we are seeking flow, we are seeking direction, right? Tobacco is earth, the ground. It's a representation of the earth element. Remember we spoke about I said tobacco, I meant dry, but I don't, if it dries out, yes, it's fine. But also people also, they call it an offering as well, because an offering as well. Yes, sage is lucky stick. It's a type of lucky stick and love. Sage is a type. It's also an offering, because some of us do snuff. So when my kids have to Phaahla for me, when I'm no more, or my grandkids, they will also be offering me tobacco as snuff, because we used to take, our ancestors used to take tobacco. There is originally made tobacco. People make it from Limpopo. It's crushed. There's a tree. It's a bark, and then they actually crush it. I will come to the water, because I'll come to water is always important for me because of my connection, because I come from people of the water. So my family are Galanga, so they are original Dao. So I always need to offer water. And in my Pedi culture or Kilobedu culture, we use water as an offering. So some people use even meal, maize meal, right? Sadza in Zim, sorghum maize sometimes as an offering instead of tobacco. Because Ekaya would either use tobacco or use maize meal. So that you can also use. So as an alternative, because trees grow from the ground, so it represents the earth. That represents the earth element. And yes, pepper also grows from the ground, but it smokes. Tobacco doesn't smoke. So it evokes air more than it evokes earth. And these things do carry dualities. Even in our personalities, we carry dualities. It's about which one is more which one has higher potency. So this one has higher earth potency, and Mpepo has much more of air, because you need to light it to evoke its energy fields. But when you evoke the air element. Are we still following? Remember to like and share this video after here. So that's what you do. So then there is water element. Real water. Right? That you offer. And how do you offer it? On the ground. On Friday, I'm going to be on Cheeky Palette. One magic. Forgot the time, but I'll post the video tomorrow. One magic. I will be talking about that, because we were with Jerry Ranseli. It's like, what are you doing? Because I was saying before we drink, we offer to the ancestors. So some of you, 1 class, 2 class, you are, because you have not offered. We actually always used to offer to the ground, the ancestors, because they represent Abapanzi, the ground. So that's that. It's to make sure that they drink before you drink, so that you don't get drunk unnecessarily. But it's also a kind gesture, because they are with you, they're watching you, because we know alcohol minimizes your ability to function somewhat, because you become your brain chemistry. So when you are offering them, you are saying, hey Bokoko, watch over me, Ninga Pais. Water, and of course there are drinks that you can offer. Fortunately, Mkomboti is finished. We had 2 weeks ago, and my mother makes the best Mkomboti, so they finished it. Mkomboti is traditional African beer made out of sorghum, the grain called sorghum. One day I'll demonstrate, and you can offer alcohol. Gin, we call it utshwala bomhlophe, or white alcohol. And please, white not as race. Let's not get the white as in ubumhlophe. And then there's also some people offer brandy, utshwala mbovu, and then there's wine. When you have ndao, because ndaos are sure they were travelers as well, and migrants. Like my people traveled from East Africa to Central, went through Botswana, ended up in Zim, came from Zim to Venda, and they ended up in Zanin. So it's because I'm not sure yet why exactly Mdau wants wine the day I know. I will tell you, because some things we don't know, we are also taught. But I also understand, the wine. Yes, you make use of the space you have, the importance of, because you can have the most beautiful msamo and your art is evil and things don't happen. But we don't do things to show off. Of course, the ancestors of that time lived with calabashes. Yes, there could be an ancestor that is requesting you to bring those ornaments back into the sacred space, But you also need to say, we live in 2020. I can't find the artifacts that you're asking me to bring to draw. Can I find something that looks similar, something familiar? When you do that. But remember, we're not speaking about constructing your msama. We're speaking about uphahla. It is important to construct it. And I can, some people put pictures of their loved ones. I don't have any pictures, but I've got ornaments that represent different types of ancestors that I work with. I've got different ornaments that are in my msamo. I've got crystals even, I've got candle stand. I've got lots of other things, and there's a lot of alcohol, And I always say to people, fortunately, I'm not a drinker. Even when you come for consultation, let me tell you. So those are the things you need. Are you clear on some of the things, and are you clear on the alternatives? If you're not, ask me a question so I can be able to help and guide. Okay, so when I phahla gogo, what do I say? How do I communicate? How do I call upon them? The most important thing is that when you are beginning a relationship with somebody, what's the important thing? You introduce yourself. Yes, I did demonstrate alcohol. You can use alcoholized them, and Somizi, I like him because he says he uses champagne to phahla, and for him it's about the modern life, and the symbolism that champagne has is about upliftment. And he says, I use it because you are also offering your ancestors what you are seeking for yourself. Because remember, I spoke about it. It's about asking. So when you offer certain things, and whiskey, I use whiskey. Amakosi use whiskey because of, the value that whiskey also carries than other drinks. I'm not sure. I wanted to use a fancy alcohol term, but I'm not a drinker, so I don't know how you make the comparison. Some people offer cognac, So uguphahla, yes, I'll speak about the different times of phahla. Let me speak about then how do you do it. And I'm gonna do it mix different languages. So listen, and I'll try start slowly. Introduce yourself, Angish, because like how you're starting. So especially for the ones who have never phahlat before, it's always important to introduce yourself. Yes, can we mute on the questions? Then I'll take the questions later because I'm so distracted. Let's mute on the questions. So if you're keeping quiet, I know that you are understanding me. If you are not hearing me or anything, you can send a comment. Let's mute a bit so that I can be present, because I am going to come and explain uphahla. So I want to use multiple languages. So kindly, let's pause our comments for now. So you introduce yourself. Who are you? And what's your surname is calling upon your lineage. So I'm going to start with, I light my candle, I burn my paper, I take my snuff, I start to speak. And others put a bit of snuff, and others you can speak with snuff throughout, but sepeli sniff. Then others start to do this, because this is also sound, and sound draws ancestors, especially those who've got gifts, because ungoma uvuswa ingoma. So when you do this, those of you who are spiritually gifted, you are drawing the spirits that have gifted you the gift much more closer with ngoma. Ngoma is also the sound of the heartbeat. Can you hear? So by doing this, you are being one and connecting to them at spirit and at heart level. So you say, I, of course, because I'm Gogo Dineo and Ngitwase Isingumi, I always begin with Togozani. But Togozani, it's a greeting of saying, let us be rejoiceful. But I also see it as the divine in me honors the divine in you, my ancestors. Even when I say Togozani to somebody else, it's a divinity, honoring the divinity. But I'm saying Togozani Bokoko Nabomkulu. So when I'm saying Togozani, I'm like, rejoice. Already I am setting an energy field of positivity. Makumalo, I ask that we pause on the comments. I'll take your questions later. Let me finish this. So, Thokozani bokoko na bomkulu. So by saying Thokozani bokoko na bomkulu, I'm calling both my divine, my divine feminine and masculine energies of ancestors to show up. And I say Yimi Udinewo. And you can say all your names. Wagabani. Ozalwa. Mina ngizothi yimi Udinewo ngizalwa I'm not gonna use my real names, because you also need to be sacred about that, because people can Phaahla you for other things. So yimi ukoko Dinewo ozalwa uOpa wakaKhumalo bokoko nabomkhulu. uKhumalo uzalwa uMoses waka Sbanban. So by saying, you are introducing, if you know a list of your great-grandmother, your great-grandfather from your maternal and paternal side, you call upon them. If you were raised by your paternal side and your paternal side, you start with them. It's always respectful to start with your paternal, the masculine energy, and then the feminine. If you don't know the other side, you call the one you were raised with. If you are adopted, you call your adopted family surnames because you have become part of that family. And one day I'm going to speak about adoption and African spirituality. So when you call your surnames, some people would say, Yimi Udinewo waka Khumalo bokoko na bomkhulu ozalwa uOpa thina boKhumalo bomntunga bombulazi thina bondabezitha thina bomzilikazi bakabulawayo. So you can say it's Thakazelo, it's your clan name, it's your praise name. So you are calling them. So let's say you are Thokozani bokoko na bomkhulu. This is Claudette. I am Claudette Smith bokoko na bomkhulu. My mother is Shanae Michelle's. I am here bokoko na bomkhulu. So you see, you can still do it in English. Kinna bokoko bontatamkhulu ke alibicha ka moka kinna mageta mobina tau kinna stlogolo sa kopi ke motswala mang. You see, you can do it in that. Yabo? So you call and you introduce yourself. Then you say Ngibiza idlozi elikhanyayo. Ngibiza amadlozi amhlophe. Ngibiza amadlozi akhanyayo alaphayo abusisayo alethukuhle. See? Because people say, how do I know? Am I calling bad or evil ones? I am calling upon the ancestors of light. Don't be apologetic about that. Because there might be roaming spirits waiting to be called who share the same clan name as you, even though they don't come from the same direct bloodline as you. So you can't say Ngibiza uti Ngibiza elimhlophe elikhanyayo. You start by calling the ones in the light, right? And when you call upon them, you also say Ngibiza lonke idlozi elinebanga egazini lami phansi komthunzi welanga engibaziyo nalabangabazi. I call upon all the ancestors that are connected to my bloodline, those that I know of and those that I do not know of. Because some of us only know our grandmother. Some of us don't even know our grandmother. Some of us don't even know our fathers. So you call upon all of them that are connected to you. Then you can then speak your intention. You can speak out loud what it is you are asking, what is it you are seeking, what is it you are connecting. And it's very important to call upon them from the four corners. Call upon them from everywhere. Bring them all and then ask. And then when you are done, you can say Thokozani. Again, we rejoice. Or you can say Magwande, meaning let it expand, let it flow. Or you can say Makosi, or you can say Kamahaku. Those have similar meanings. They are similar, they've got similar sentiments. Or you can say Lesedi, Khanya, light, peace, and happiness. Are you clear on Uguphaahla? Are you clear on Uguphaahla? If you are, then you can ask me questions. It looks like today I'm actually just going to cover Uguphaahla. We'll cover cleansings next week. Because I feel like it's a topic. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, it's an intensive topic. Like I said, I'm not the one to say light a candle, then put this. No, where do I place your sacred space? Try let it face the east. East is about emergence. The sun rises from the east. So because we are partnering to emerge in protection, to emerge in blessings, to emerge in guidance. So we are bringing things. We are emerging. So east, langan balele east, Mpumalanga, Butlhabatsatsi. Can you partner when you're menstruating? I spoke last week about menstruation. And oh yes, and if you're married, somebody is asking my marital when I'm partnering and introducing myself. So I'm going to speak about marriage and marriage rituals and what happens when you need to divorce, because that's another important topic. When you are married, you also call Guti, Gumakoti, Waga. You know, I was married to the Ndlanzi, so I used to partner. I still call them because where I practice is, it was, you know, it used to be Ndlanzi Homestead and Mkulu and Kashwa, and I still share the space because they have granted me, because when I went to Phaahla, I was there, Makoti. When I went to Twasa, so when I came back, they allowed me to work. So I still, and my kids are the Ndlanzi. So that bloodline continues with me. So I still call upon abantu bagandlands, even though but I become specific in abantu or umuntu, you know, and yeah, so that's that. So can you partner when you're in your periods? I don't like inviting things when I'm on my period, because I spoke about periods last week. Menstruation, and I said your body takes a toll, or was it here, or was it on the Ancestral Voices stream? I don't remember. Your body takes a toll, a physical, so you're not in the mood. Don't partner if you're not feeling. Remember, you don't want to go on a date with somebody for the, oh, let's go because what can I do, I need to, no, oh, let me meet. No, you want to be there because you are wanting to connect. So when you are on your periods, it's not that the periods are dirty. Sometimes it's just that your body is depleted and you don't have the energy to sit and light in purple and be present. Because don't partner and say Thokozani and sit. Mina, after I partner, I've got a deck of cards. I take a deck of cards and I lay them out. Actually, one of the gogos pack the cards for me, and I take it out to hear the response. Sometimes I sit for some time, you know, to listen to, and I go into meditation, because meditation is listening for answers, you know. So that's what I can do. So you can ask me your questions about Phaahla. So I'm gonna take questions now, because people were asking me a lot of questions. I missed all your questions. Can I? Yes, you can Phaahla while you're pregnant. There's nothing wrong. I Phaahla when I was pregnant. I don't know, unless if your cultural practice prohibits you. I don't know why that would be, because you might want to Phaahla for your baby. You might want to Phaahla for the safe delivery. You might want to Phaahla for a whole lot of things. I use different kinds of angel cards, you know. I use different kinds. You can find a deck that speaks to you. Can we use candles only if we can? Yes, you can use candles, but try offer something like to the ground, right? So not just candles, water, tobacco. You don't have, okay, so how many times must you Phaahla? It's the same thing as how many times must you, take it like a relationship. Don't do it because you want to do it, right? So I've been on a stream of Phaahling every day, because in the morning when I wake up, I give thanks and gratitude and I ask my ancestors to guide me. But when I finish consulting, I Phaahla to give thanks. And of course, I need to Phaahla because people pay me in advance to see me. So I can Phaahla for the monies that have come, and I ask Spirit to guide me. Even the people who've paid for their cleansings, I Phaahla for it first. That's why we have a non-refundable policy. I tell you, if you cancel, you know, I mean, we still say you cancel and you still can get a slot. But you don't pay and say, oh, now I can't do it. Unless under extreme circumstances, we review it. But we become honest to say it is non-refundable, because yeah, Phaahla. And we all know imali a Phaahla or something that is already announced. You don't want to take it back, because that's why some of you, they'll say, hey, you are being bewitched. You're not being bewitched here. You have mixed up energy vibrations. Zimbabweans are Africans, so they Phaahla. I have a few Zimbabwean clients. They Phaahla the same way. I guide them the same way I just guided you right now. Can I Phaahla? Please Phaahla with your 5-year-old. Sia Phaahlas. I think it was last year, 2018. I posted a video when Sia came into my Ndumba. Sia Phaahlas. Sia comes and Phaahla in the Ndumba. Phaahlas for the patients. We need to teach our young ones. Our ancestors didn't, so we cannot. We need to break that that pattern and that pathology so that the legacy can live in the family. These rituals can exist beyond our time. So we need, yes, please partner with your young one and explain what is it. Make them love it. Make them fall in love with it. Best times of ukupahla. I always spoke about 3 a.m. as manifestation time. So anything with a 3, either 3 a.m. or 3 afternoon, even 12 I do, because 1 plus 2 equals 3 for me. So even with 3, but I normally, at 12, because we know it as an angelic number, so I pray. So I do pasha and then I pray, because remember, by praying, we are then asking, we are communicating with our ancestors, and they pave a way, they clear the way, they remove debris, they remove obstacles that might have been set for us. So when we are connecting with God, God's ears are hearing us. 3 a.m. is very important, especially when you're seeking answers. But also partner before you go to bed if you are seeking answers through dreams. So some of you are not receiving dreams because you are not. No, I haven't spoken to me say, I'm going to do that next time, because we're already an hour in this and there's a lot of questions that people are already asking about partner. If you partner and you don't receive answers 1 to 2 days, what can you do? Or just being, you might sometimes be impatient. And what are you partnering for, and what kind of answers are you seeking? But if they've given you a directive, because normally I also give people partner days and rituals, because there's something I'm seeking in them, and you might have to go back to the person who said partner for this number of days. Is it important to partner on one's it's important as a humbling yourself, as saying I'm surrendering my ego. I am letting go of my understanding and inviting yours. I am meeting you at ground level. I am being one with you. I am being grounded, the representation of the knees. But if you are in your car, you're not going to stop your car and go on your knees. You speak with them, because they can see, But I don't stand in my room and say, yeah, makosa matle. But you can partner. When you pour alcohol, you're standing and you're doing that. But when I am in connection, not just offering alcohol, I kneel and I show respect, because respect is very important. And that's why for people, they'll say cover your head, cover your shoulders, as a form. It's an act of respecting. I am still trying to understand the covering. I know that when you are married, those things are important. The day I understand, I will teach about them. I'm still finding it for myself. I haven't found it because I don't. When I pasha in Dumbeni, I don't, and it could be because ngihamba namakehla, ngihamba namajaha. So, but I wear a cloth because sometimes I do wear jeans. So I wear a cloth to do that. But I also feel like certain things were created to make things easier, because itching sometimes is very uncomfortable. We know that, especially the skinny. It's tight somewhere. So we are partner, but you are busy, because you need to be able to do things being present and being one with the act that you're doing, not doing it, but your mind is like, ish, this gene. So it's same as going out on a date. If you are on a date with somebody, or you are connecting with somebody, or you're out with friends and they're busy on their phones, the connection gets lost. It tempers with the connection. So what you wear is also very important. And I know a jean is like, even today I was wearing it and I was like, and I was wearing something else. It just, there's that thing. So I also realized when I go in Dumbin, I need to be comfortable so that I can be present, because everything to me speaks. Do you have to dress in a certain way when you partner? I said dress in a way that's comfortable. And I don't think good, because if you're kneeling and you're wearing a palm short, we don't want to see, you also like, I don't want my palms to no, be respectful. Yes, Ukpatla is not for sangomas, beloveds. It's an act. It's a ritual. It's an African ritual. It's not exclusive to Izangoma. Izangoma can teach you how to they can give you direction and basics. And if you are partnering and you're still not able to hear, see anything, or things are still not working out, you need to consult, because sometimes there are ancestral blockages or discourses that have happened that are blocking you and your connection to your ancestors. Yes, because sometimes you do offer weed. If you don't have Mpepo, actually you can ban weed as well. Because they are our ancestors. Because we offer them also. We are offering them things, a drink. In our culture, we always used to offer a drink or something to eat. Somebody asked, can I partner with money? I use money when I'm asking for blessings or for things. I use coins a lot. You can put coins in a bowl of water, especially if you're asking for a manifestation. When you partner, put the money. Uyakanyisa. It's called ukanyisa. So you are paying it forward, basically. Ukanyisa is I am paying forward. With this, I'm asking. With this, I'm asking. I spoke about umsamo facing the east, right? You don't have to give the place in which you phahla, you can't turn your back against it. You need to face it. I saw a couple of questions. Musa, I spoke about dreams. There's a stream on dreams. Please refer to that one. I spoke to why people don't dream. I live in a rented house. Can I phahla in the house or should I wait till I get home? You need to let your ancestors know where you are so that they can go with you wherever you are and you can phahla at your rented home. So you can even use candles and say, where I'm going to light these candles, know that it is my rented home and I am there because of work, I'm there because of this, I'm there because of that. So you can do that. You have to have, it's a sacred space. It's important to have that space where you can always go to, where you know it's not moved. You move it, tomorrow is that. When you move it, you have to say Tokozane. I had my one somewhere there and I told them because I needed to put something. I said, but because I've had a solid relationship, so I live in a rented apartment, but I have a permanent structure of umsamo at the institute. Coco, what do you do with a bowl of water with coins? I keep them there. Well, Sia has finished all the coins now. Always asking, Mama, I want money from Mama Kosin to buy, and I give it to him because children are blessings, you know. And sometimes if you ask, you can even use that water to bath with it because you've been praying with it, to invite those prayers closer and refill it, but also keep the space clean. So after you phahla, you don't clean it up because you just offered. So you can't take back. You leave it for 24 hours and then you can clean it up later. When we do a Thanksgiving ceremony, the first plate of food you give to your ancestors because you were thanking them. After whatever you've slaughtered or whatever you've cooked, you offer it to them. When that you're getting hit, yeah, that's why I said it's very important to announce yourself. It's very important to call the ancestors of light. So you're not calling anyone. So if you're getting a hit or something, it's because you're calling everyone. But sometimes you're not even getting a hit, you're evoking them. They now have hit you and they're coming through you. Can you phahla? Yes, you can phahla. I spoke about sacred spaces, but be very careful. I always announce, I don't go anywhere just because it looks nice. Even when I'm on holiday and I see a river, I say, because I told my ancestors I'm going on holiday. So, and I get there, the first thing I do, put my bags down, I always take snuff and pepper. It's my toolkit. I always keep those in my bag. It doesn't matter. You go through customs with those things. It's African sage, so it goes through. But I pack it in my luggage bag and I phahla and I announce. I thank them for safety, for arrival, for protection where I am. So that is what I do. Everywhere I go, I phahla. If I leave here and I go there, I phahla and I tell them, thank you for the safe travel. I am here, very safe. So meaning that they are with me. So if I have to go to the beach and phahla, before I go, I speak to them where I first phahla when I arrive to say, please, so that I don't want to see the river guardian. I don't want to be frightened by the mountain guardian because things can happen in those spaces, especially some of us who have gifts. We can touch the grounds and we are evoking things and we have no one to support us. So please. Thank you, Michael, for clarifying that. I think Njabulo just came now. Please, some of the questions, I clarified this in the beginning. Must I always explain myself when I phahla? Aren't they always with me? Yes, no, I said I explained this when you first do it. Maybe 3 times, because 3 completes the cycle. So I was speaking about Guti, you introduce yourself like you would at a date, you know, like, because they don't know you. You've never communicated or spoken to them, so you have to introduce them. I don't always to say, you know, they're ready because they hear your voice, they understand that. Surname issue. What do you do when you phahla? What's the issue with the surname? I explained about the surnames earlier on, and I explained, Guti, if you know, you start with the family that raised you, the family that you use the surname first. You can offer things that the ancestors like. You can offer sweets, you can offer food, you can offer cake. Because I'm sure you know, There's always gene because my grandfather used, and my grandfather from my maternal, my grandmother from my paternal used to drink gin. So there's always gin in my msamo. How do you communicate with Ubuntu as we have them both from father? I don't understand this guy. Yes, you can Phaahla every day, but please don't Phaahla because don't make it a chore. Chores are tiring. Chores are very tiring. So Phaahla, you see, I Phaahla when I Phaahla, you could feel, because I also feel the presence of them, because I was once told by them, because I was taught a with every day, and sometimes I'm from work and it's been long, and I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm thinking of dinner and I'm thinking about homework and I'm thinking about all sorts of things, and my ancestor said, no, I'm not doing anyone a favor. I am not doing anyone a favor. So for me, yeah, Angisho, no, I did say, beloveds, please open your spiritual ears. I said, when you Phaahla, you're calling upon them. So when you're asking with what causes that you've called them, you have called them, so they're showing up. Especially if you're gifted, they are making their presence known. You are speaking about, I'm speaking about Phaahla. Now you want to hear about the river water, the ocean water. When I speak about the importance of different sacred spaces, I can expand on that. Can we focus on Phaahla? What do you mean there are student discounts? As sangomas, we don't get subsidies. We don't get subsidies. It's normal to feel the presence after you Phaahla. I think some people, beloveds, have joined us later. Feel like old people are watching you. Yes, I said it is, because they're going to come and make their presence known. You can Phaahla with snuff and pepper and candles only, but always offer something. Water is, because water is for flowing. So offering water. You don't have to have alcohol, is important. Violet. Spiritual compatibility in a relationship, for me, it's a non-negotiable. Because now you cannot be yourself. Because your husband doesn't believe in these things. I would suggest, I can't say go to the river, go to the mountains, because I don't know. Like I said, you can go to that space and evoke other things, because you need to Phaahla first to announce you are coming. So I would just say consult a sangoma and see what's the best way. Because at the institute, people, we when we do cleansings, of course we go into a natural space. Then they start to Phaahla when they do their things. So it's a bit of a difficult. Can I only Phaahla with snuff, pepper, and no candles? Yeah, that sometimes work, but I explained earlier on what the candle was, it represents. But because pepper also is light, so when it creates fire, it's also a fire. It can. I told you, make it a personal thing. I'm just giving guidance. I'm identical to I have to Phaahla with her all the time. No, dear, you don't have to. You're identical in the physical, but your spiritual DNA is very unique. Yes, you can. I did say you can use cannabis. You can use inzang. You can use it. What are some of the examples of how they communicate with me as you are evoking them? I spoke, please refer back to the video, because some of you joined in. I spoke about different ways where spirit can make itself earlier on. Those who joined, who've been here with me for an hour, I've touched on that question. Is if one side of your family is more dominant, this is important, more dominant in your life, do you still call both? Yes, you call both your paternal and maternal side, because they run in your bloodline. You are who you are because you are made by mother and father. So spiritual blockages that might not allow things to flow is when there is darkness, and that darkness can be created by, for example, miscarriages, abortions. I'm going to speak about that next week. I'll elaborate more on them. But it can also be created by not ever connecting to our ancestors, also create a spiritual blockage. It could also be created by us not listening to their instructions or their direction or their guidance. if you don't know your father's side, it's fine. You say, even because you can also ask to be connected to them. There's a lot of people who their father's side is seeking of them and they've never met them, and we do Phaahla rituals that lead them to finding their paternal side of the family. So there's been rituals that we've done and people find their paternal side of the family. So, but you can still call your maternal instead. Even those, that's why you say, remember, I feel like maybe somehow we are not listening, or maybe it's how I'm saying things, that ute, I call those that I know and those that I don't know who are connected to my bloodline. So by that, you are also acknowledging your other sides of the family. Yeah. So yes, there are rituals that can help find people, find ancestors, to mix English words as better way of expressing yourself. Yes, and do say ukuthi bogogo ngikhulele isilungu ngiyaxolisa. Ngiyaxolisa bogogo. I don't, even when I started to Phaahla, I mixed, because you were new until you learn the vocab. But what happens if you are African and you are Zulu but you were raised in the States? You tell the people, good time, Madlozi, I would love and I am willing to learn your language, but at this moment, this is my predicament. I come with good intentions. I come with a good heart. I'm really, intentionally wanting to connect with you, and this is the way I know how to. Forgive me for if I come and it shows disrespect. They had a human experience, so they know that in our humanness, we're not perfect. We're not ideal, like, oh, mina ngaphahla ngesiZulu and ngiyazazi zonke iy'thakazelo zasekhaya phela mina bengikhuluma kuyazwakala nkosi yami ngoba ngumZulu phaca. Gape nna ke Mopedi ge ke bolela gwa kwagala. No, that could also be very egotistic. Those, it doesn't pay attention to the ego, it pays to the heart intentions. Okay, I think you eat them, so I don't know what you guys are talking about, eating things. It feels like we are done with the stream. What causes? I'm going to ask Vuyele to you join late because your questions are things that I've covered earlier on. Please go back and watch this. Togoza Koko, what causes this sudden change of mood that can be ignored in you when you come across some people? Okay, I don't know how that relates to Phaahla, Dane Hlozi. Kindly, beloveds, let us speak. Please, kindly, if you have not watched this from the beginning, watch it again, because in the beginning I cover a lot of ground around Phaahla about certain things, because you need, even I spoke about what is prayer, what is Phaahla, because you might have joined in later and you like thinking we're starting. We've been here for 71 minutes already. Thank you so much for those who have used their data, their airtime, their Wi-Fi to connect, to be here. Please remember to like and share, comment, share it with other people. And there's a whole lot of other videos that I've done in the previous weeks. Next week, I am going to cover miscarriages and abortion cleansings, because Phaahla was into what do you do with coins after 24, or maybe I keep mine there. I don't, it depends. I don't know, because some are prescribed as a ritual. If somebody prescribed, you ask that person that prescribed it. So there's coins somewhere I keep all the time there, but Sia has finished all the coins. Then there's coins that when I use them for specific things, then I get a specific, because if I'm giving you it means I'm diagnosing and prescribing treatments. I'm doing general Phaahla. I am not giving prescriptions to people. I'm saying general understanding. Please also listen to your own inner voice, to the voice of your ancestors. They will also guide you in terms of what you should offer them, what you could offer them, how to Phaahla, how to speak to them. The more you are connected, the more their voices can be amplified, the more their direction can be clearer. This was just me giving you some generic understanding about Phaahla, but also explaining why that is, and explaining why this and why that. So kindly watch the video, share it, like it. Thank you very much. Make sure to keep the place sacred, and if you live in a one-roomed house, create a thing and put something to, because if they want their proper thing, ask them to bless you with a big house. You ask for those things. Right now, this is where I am at. Please bless me so I can have a place outside the home where you can live in peace and quiet. But right now, this is what I am. We've had our msamo in the house, before we built the ndumbas. So we Phaahla there in the bedroom, but we created a sacred space there. But even though when we're doing our deed there, we are not, but we created a shield. We found a screen to cover. Yes, because it's easy for me to say don't be intimate in the same room, you Phaahla, right? But what happens if you lived in a one-roomed house? What if you hlala cooking? So it means you can't Phaahla and you can't have your life. Like I've said, it's very important. Consultation, subscription, Gogo, please. Are you promoting me, Priscilla? Yes. If you wanna, subscribe, like, if you want to come for a consultation, our number is 074 210 2089 074 210 2089. Yes, we both do face-to-face consultations, telephonic and Zoom and WhatsApp. We are in the 21st century, so all those things do work. And if you are outside the country, please make sure to use the 0027 code, and then you lose the 4 before you do 74. So you can kindly do that, or go to my website gogodinoondlanzi.com, or DM me on Instagram. I can also share our booking details. Thank you so much, beloved. This is the longest stream I've done, and this has been the most frightening because I've been running away from Kuluma Phaahla, because I feel like, because people do it differently, because it's personal, it's a relationship with your ancestors. I don't want to prescribe, but I want to guide, and I hope you have found some guidance and you are enlightened, inspired to remain connected and in relationship with your ancestors. Have a fantastic night.